Alright, today I'm going to tell you a little bit about baking soda and mainly its effects on teeth. So, baking soda is officially known as sodium bicarbonate. And if you look at the ingredients on some toothpaste, you'll probably see it there listed as sodium bicarbonate. Now, one of the classifications of a substance is whether it's an acid or a base. Everything is either acidic or basic unless it's neutral, which just means that it's in between. I'm not really going to go into what it really means when we say something is acidic or basic, but just keep in mind that some things are acids and some things are bases. Now, all tooth decay is caused directly by acids. You've probably heard that cavities can be caused by bacteria or sugar, which is true too, but those are indirect causes of decay because they are just another cause of acids. It's not the sugar or bacteria themselves that rot the teeth. It is the acid that they result in. And also note that there are many different types of acidic substances. I'm not just referring to, just one acid. I do plan on giving a deeper explanation as to how the acid actually dissolves the tooth in another video, since I really have just too much to say about everything to really get off topic now. So, apologies to all those disappointed questioners out there like me that just really need to know hows and whys. But hopefully I can get back to you guys on that on a later date. Now, I will say briefly, though, that we take in acid usually two ways. The first is directly putting acid into our mouths. If you look on the ingredients on a lot of different things, you'll probably see some type of acid listed, be it phosphoric acid or citric acid, or just, whatever. There's a lot of acids and stuff we eat, and those do decay teeth. The second is by sugar. Sugar is in a lot of things, from candy to apples, and anything that ends in an ose usually is a sugar, like sucrose, glucose, fructose, lactose, dextrose, and so on. Those are all sugars. The reason why sugar is bad is because in our mouths and on our teeth, we have many different kinds of microscopic bacteria, and some of them are Streptococcus bacillus bacteria, which is just a group of bacteria which contains certain kinds of bacterium that cause cavities. Most notably is the Streptococcus S mutans, although there are some other kinds. So to put things simply, these bacteria, they take in sugar kind of like how we take in oxygen, and just like how we exhale carbon dioxide, they're going to excrete a substance known as lactic acid. So, back to baking soda. One of the things that makes baking soda so helpful for teeth is that it is a strong base. And when a base like baking soda comes into contact with an acid, like lactic acid or, a lot of other kinds of acids, a neutralization reaction occurs where the acid and the base, it's sort of like they switch some of their atoms, although that's not 100% how it is, but and basically they do, the old swap and they become a salt and a water. So now the acid isn't an acid anymore, which is awesome because now it's not breaking down your teeth. We have an acid and a base, and now we have a salt and a water because they switch some properties. Because baking soda doesn't rebuild teeth, but rather it just prevents the damage from progressing by eliminating the thing that causes the damage, you should always use baking soda before using regular toothpaste, mouthwash, or, any other things that contain fluoride, because fluoride actually does rebuild teeth to an extent. For example, if you have a Lego tower and there's a little kid breaking it apart piece by piece, then you're not going to want to start rebuilding first and then get rid of the kid. Not going to make any progress that way. So you want to remove the kid first and then start to rebuild. The kid is like the acid, the Lego tower is like your teeth, the use of baking soda is removing the kid, and the use of fluoride is rebuilding the tower. So always use baking soda before fluoride. The next great thing I discovered about baking soda is it relieves acid-induced toothaches. If the tooth starts hurting or starts hurting more intensely immediately after eating or drinking something sweet, like, soda, caramel, a donut, whatever, then it is definitely an acid-caused toothache. Even if that doesn't seem to be the case, there's still a good chance that the pain is caused by acid, in which case baking soda will help because it neutralizes acids. I've tried this on my own teeth many times, and it definitely helps. However, if you have a toothache and you try this, and it doesn't even help a little bit, then the pain probably isn't caused by acid, and there might be a problem with the nerve of the tooth, or you might have pain from temperature changes with certain kinds of fillings, or, other work done on your teeth that could be causing that. Another experience I'd like to share is that baking soda will not feel good if you have an open cut in your gums. Not too long ago, I had a decent-sized filling come out, and before I could get it fixed, I was eating something, and I accidentally got a little bit of food in the tooth where the filling used to be. So I went to go floss it out first, get all the food out, which caused my gum to bleed a little bit right there because, it was a pretty sensitive spot. And then it started to hurt. So, I feel so stupid now because without even thinking, I just grabbed for the baking soda since, it's normally what I do to get rid of pain and to clean the area where the food was because, it's just what I got used to doing. And so when I did, I went from a little pain to a lot of pain, actually. And it took me a while to realize why that had happened. It was because whatever acid the baking soda came into contact with mixed with it to become salt and water. And everybody knows not to put salt on an open wound, so the salt that I just created came into contact with the small cut on my gum. So please don't make that mistake as me and put salt in your open wounds. But the main thing is just to really think about why you're doing something. Why does this work before you actually do it? And that goes with anything in life. Baking soda, it's also a great natural whitener, and that's one that's actually not harmful for your teeth. All of those whitening strips, peroxide, which, that peroxide is actually an ingredient that's thrown in, just like baking soda in small quantities in a lot of toothpaste, too. And any kind of whitening treatments you get done at the dentist, those are all bad for your teeth. Now, obviously, depending on the individual and stuff, it might not really matter so much for you because in some cases it's not as bad as others, but it's never good for your teeth and it always is a little bit harmful. Although sometimes it might be kind of insignificant for you if you take good care of your teeth. Another thing about whitener strips or treatments is that if you have either an open cavity or have a lot of fillings or other work done on your teeth, do not use them because you will be in a lot of pain. Actually, during my experience somewhere along the way of getting it's like probably over 70 fillings I have done now, but, somewhere throughout that long process, I wanted to get some cavities filled, and we were waiting in the waiting room for a while until the receptionist told us that they were really backed up and we'd need to reschedule. And as a complimentary thing for keeping us waiting, they gave me some free tooth whitening strips, that's just a brilliant idea. Yes, give them to the person that was here to get fillings done, but, whatever. And it's funny, I actually didn't really want to use them because, I don't really care how things look as long as they work the way they should, but my mom kind of convinced me into trying them, which I quickly regretted since I soon after was in some really bad pain on a few of my teeth. So, live and learn. A lot of dentists will say that they don't support the use of baking soda because it's abrasive, and so they say that it'll cause receding gums. Which, I'm not going to say that that can't happen or that that isn't true, but first off, it's never happened to me, and I've used it a lot, and I've known lots of other people that have used it, especially, older people, and it's not something that I really see happening, so I wouldn't say it's something that's a really big concern, and, if it does start to cause an issue, if you, for some reason, do get receding gums, you can just stop using the baking soda. But the other thing is that if you have braces, you do want to avoid using it because it can be corrosive to the metal in the braces. So, I wouldn't really recommend it for people with braces unless you have a specific issue and are using it, rarely, typically just avoid it. Another thing to note on baking soda is that if you happen to swallow a little, it can actually be good for you. Although, you definitely don't want to ingest a whole lot of it because it can cause some bad things like diarrhea and other problems. Sometimes professional athletes they'll put a little bit in their water and drink it because it can help them when they're exercising and working out. If you ever hear people saying that, oh, you feel the burn, that's good, and you should keep pushing through that, that's actually wrong. You should stop exercising and take a little break when that starts to happen. You start to, feel the burn, because in short, what's happening is your body switches to an anaerobic method of creating energy when it can't get sufficient oxygen for the work it needs to do. And just like the harmful bacteria in your teeth, this results in the production of lactic acid, which is what's causing you to feel that burn. However, this method, when it starts switching to that anaerobic method, it requires more energy to actually perform it than it outputs to your physical movement, which will just make you really tired and you won't really be gaining anything from it. So when you take in a small amount of baking soda, the process is delayed and you can keep exercising longer before that happens, which will make you stronger, So to sum things up, I highly recommend the use of baking soda while brushing in most cases, with the exceptions of those being people with braces or other big metal things in their mouth, and also people that are already really prone to receding gum lines, I guess don't use it. You should always use baking soda first before toothpaste, mouthwash, any other fluoride-containing substances, anything like that. If you have acid-induced toothache, you should definitely try using baking soda to relieve it. Do not use baking soda when you have any open cuts in your mouth. And if you have a lot of open cavities or have any time, a lot of work, a lot of fillings, whatever, definitely do not use whitening treatments. although I wouldn't really recommend them anyway. When buying toothpaste, look for ones that say they have baking soda or sodium bicarbonate, which just means baking soda on them, in them rather, but preferably ones without peroxide in them. A small amount of baking soda can enhance athletic performance, but too much can cause gastrointestinal distress. I am not a dentist, but this is what the dentist doesn't tell you.